What's up, PTB Nation? How's everyone enjoying the football? Welcome back. It is Sunday night, and you are here with me, the Mr. Mike Agustinu. We just finished round 13 of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, the octagonal. It has just concluded. I'm still looking at some updates here, and like I said, it just concluded. What a day of action! If you took my betting advice earlier today, listen, I only hit on 1 out of 5 picks, so this was a tough day for me with the bookie. I so close to hitting on just about all of them too, but what a day though! What a day for Canada! Congratulations to the Canadian men's national team. For the first time in 36 years, if I'm not mistaken, 36 years for the first time, Canada is headed to the World Cup, and they deserve it. They're going to win this group. It's out of question now. There is no longer any doubt. Canada will be the CONCACAF winners of this octagonal final, and they did it in style today. Of course, I thought that taking the under on 2.5 goals was going to be enough, but unfortunately, DJ Hoylett had other ideas, and he spoiled that 8 minutes from time. But congratulations to Canada to advance. United States also looking fantastic right now. It's going to take a 6-goal defeat in Costa Rica later this week to stop the United States from going to Qatar. It's in the bag. Let's be honest. It is in the bag now. The United States is going to the World Cup. So USA fans, stop complaining. Stop getting paranoid. Stop worrying. You are going to the World Cup. And there's a lot of nations out there that can't say that. I know Greg Berhalter's got his haters out there. There's lots of haters for Greg Berhalter. The internet is just a minefield of Greg Berhalter haters. And listen, this man did what he said he was going to do. He took the time to build the nucleus, to build the team, to build a system of play, to get them ready to play in World Cup qualifying, to get them ready for this octagonal. And when push came to shove, when it counted most, yes, there's still one match to play, but listen, only 2 defeats right now. Only 2 defeats through 13 matches. What a change from just, from the last cycle, which was now 5 years ago. What a change for the United States, picking up points in Mexico, okay? Picking up a win in San Pedro Sula, getting points in El Salvador. They got a draw. And we were upset about that, and rightfully so. Only losses in this World Cup qualifying cycle were on the road at Panama, and we made up for that tonight, and on the road at Canada, who win the group. Really not too much that U.S. fans can complain about right now. You can talk all you want about possession. You can talk all about the dynamics and how there isn't there isn't the type of ball movement you want, the type of whatever. But at the end of the day, the United States of America is going to go to the World Cup, barring a 6-goal loss on, I believe it's Wednesday, in San Jose in Costa Rica. Costa Rica tonight keeps their hopes alive as well. I had them to draw. They managed to hang on. El Salvador was inches from drawing it level in stoppage time, and that would have put the United States in, but unable to do it. Good effort though by El Salvador, but in the end, the Ticos are still alive, and they're looking good to get that 4th place. Panama, adios. Mexico survived. Oh, L3 was close as well. It took an own goal tonight, an own goal in San Pedro Sula, for Mexico to beat Honduras. Honduras, in the first half were there. Honduras were shutting them down. I tried to keep my eye on both games, but in the first half I was watching the United States tonight. Second half I was paying a little bit more attention to Mexico, because that game was a lot more interesting at that point, with the United States getting a big lead in the first half. But looking at it, in the first half, even Andreas Cantor, the famous commentator, now with Telemundo, he tweeted out, in Spanish, but I understood it. I was able to read it, and he just said that against the worst team in CONCACAF or in this division, in this octagonal, Mexico was unable to create opportunities. They did better in the second half. Mexico did do better in the second half, but at the end of the day, I mean, this team is struggling to put the ball in the goal. I don't know who is going to score goals for this Mexico team. They look like they're either going to go to the playoff or they're going to go to the World Cup, depending on what happens in their match coming up and what happens with the United States on Wednesday night when we get to the final night of this octagonal, round 14. But today we're going to talk all about round 13. Okay. I am going to bring up the results here on my screen so that we can walk through it here. And let's take a look. Again, we said it was a big game, right, in Toronto. We're going to start in Toronto today. Canada taking on Jamaica. I said 3-0. It was a 4-0 result. An own goal late. An own goal late for Jamaica made that a 4-0 result, ending the 36-year absence from the World Cup. And I'm going to pull that up right now, and we're going to take a look at the starting lineups for both teams in that one. We're going to start there, then we're going to work to the U.S. match. But the lineups here. So Canada goes with Borjan in goal. They're playing 4-2-3-1. Borjan's in goal. Richie Larea gets the start at right back today. The center backs are we got Henry and we got Kennedy. Steven Vittoria missing today. He was in street clothes on the bench before during the match, not dressed. I'm assuming he had a yellow card suspension, and that's why he wasn't playing. And then you got Ad Kubai as the right back. DJ Hoylett in midfield, partnering with Porto's Steven Eustáquio. Eustáquio was fantastic today. I have to give credit where credit's due. Stefan Eustáquio was one of the best players on the pitch today. His assist to Kyle Larin early just set the tone, and it basically told Jamaica, who didn't want to be there. It was 24 degrees Fahrenheit in Toronto for this match. Jamaica not comfortable at all in those conditions, and Steven Eustáquio sets up Kyle Larin on that first goal. Kyle Larin gets the start as the attacking left-sided midfielder. Jonathan Osorio in the middle and Tejan Buchanan down the right in that attacking midfield three. Behind the striker, the Lille striker, one of the best players in Ligue 1, the Golden Boot candidate once again, Jonathan David. Jamaica plays in a 3-4-3. Andre Blake is the goalkeeper. You got King, Mariapa, and Lee across the back, while Brown, Williams, Morrison, and Thomas play across the four in midfield behind the three strikers, Bygrave, Green, and Nelson. So, noticeable by his absence, obviously, is West Ham's Mikel Antonio, maybe the best player, at least best forward in CONCACAF. If it's not Jonathan David, it is Mikel Antonio, but he was not available for this one. Like we said, right off the bat, Canada set the tone. 13 minutes, and Kyle Larin scores on a beautiful, beautiful through ball from Steven Eustáquio, and Canada takes the lead early. And then again, off a set piece, the ball is brought in on a cross in the 44th minute. It falls to the feet of Tejan Buchanan, and the former New England Revolution player finds the back of the net from short range. He drifted from the center towards the left, found himself at the far post, open. The ball dropped at his feet. Looks up, sees the space to finish, and he puts it past Andre Blake, the Philadelphia Union goalkeeper representing Jamaica here. And Canada go into the halftime up 2-0. I was liking this. Like I said, if you saw my video on BTV earlier this morning, you saw me say to take the under on this one. I thought this game was going to be 2-0. I just seemed to have 2-0 on written all over for me. But in the end, it didn't come out that way because, well, I think Jamaica kind of gave up a little bit towards the end. We get some substitutes in the second half. Jamaica sends on Tarek Shimmies for Javon Brown. They send on Lamar Walker for Nicholas Nelson and Alex Marshall replaces Ricardo Thomas. That was between the 46th and 56th minute of the second half. And then to hold the result, and this is when I thought the 2-0 was done, dusted. Canada sends on the veteran Atiba Hutchinson, Besiktas, one of the great players in Canadian history, and really, like, someone you have to be so happy for right now. This is somebody I am incredibly happy for. This is a player who's in his late 30s, has been a fantastic professional for 2 decades now, playing in Europe, playing at Besiktas. Before that, playing at Copenhagen. He's played in a few other clubs around Europe. Very, very talented, solid professional, great player. He comes on. He's finally going to go to the World Cup in November. And, in the tail end of his career, he fulfills the ultimate dream of any player to go and represent your country at the World Cup. He's, of course, one of the leaders of this team as one of the veterans. Atiba Hutchinson replaces Donnell Henry, while Lucas Cavallini replaces Kyle Larin, and Alistair Johnson replaces Richie Laray. A little bit of squad rotation. Even though Canada knows they're through, they do still have a match to play, so they have to keep guys healthy. Plus, they got to return these guys to their clubs, whether it's in North America here in the early part of the season in Major League Soccer, or if they go, fighting towards the finish line in Europe. A lot of players here fighting for promotion spots, fighting for European spots, fighting to stave off relegation. Their club teams need them, and the manager is taking care of that, and he is taking care of these guys, getting them rotated and letting some minutes go to some other players. It was good to see Lucas Cavallini come in. He hasn't played a lot in this World Cup qualifying, but of course, as a striker on a team that already features Jonathan David and Kyle Larin, it's going to be tough to get minutes on a squad like that. This is a good Canada team, no doubt about it. In the 70th minute, 2 more substitutions are made by Canada. Liam Fraser replaces Stephen Eustachiou, and Kamal Miller replaces Jonathan Osorio. And Junior Hoylett will, at the 83rd minute, kill my bet, and he will cost me my unit there, as he makes a very nice goal. And after Andre Blake had made a couple of nice saves to keep the game at 2-0. Hoylett gets into the box in a scramble. It's coming off of a corner kick that gets cleared poorly, falls to him. Mad rush of people in front of Andre Blake. He's having a hard time seeing it, and in what looked like a toe poke to the far post, there was just no chance for Blake to react quick enough. Hoylett puts it in the far post. Canada go up 3-0. It's done and dusted at that point. The fans are celebrating. They know it's coming at BMO Field. They wanted it to be done today in front of their fans, with snow whipping around during the match too. I mean, the snow was in the air the most of the match. There was one section of the field where you could see it pile up just a little bit. It did affect the speed of play a little bit. But in the closing moments, Adrian Mariappa puts an own goal into his own goal on a ball that was played across, and really looked like Andre Blake was going to have a very easy time coming out and just scooping it up. But in an attempt to clear it away, Adrian Mariappa puts it into the back of his own goal. 4-0. That's how it finishes. Canada win, and Canada are through to Qatar. They're the story of this qualifying round, this qualifying cycle. This team had to play preliminary matches to get into this octagonal. Okay, they were one of 2 teams to come in through the octagonal. Canada just barely made it in, and now they won the octagonal. I said this last summer. This wasn't quite a year ago. It was in the summer. It's funny how quickly we played this octagonal, how quickly we've played 14 matches, because in a calendar span, it's been very crammed. But in the Gold Cup last summer, I said that Canada were the best football playing team at the Gold Cup. They didn't win it. The United States won it, and rightfully so. But Canada's football was spectacular. And Canada's it was spectacular. And shout out there, Cynthia says snow equals Canadian confetti. Yes, it does. They were the best team at the Gold Cup. Okay, they played the best football. They got robbed against Mexico. Let's call it what it was in the semifinals. They were robbed. They were playing in Dallas in front of 80,000, 90,000, I don't know how many Mexico fans, and they were robbed. And they would have been in the final. It should have been a U.S.-Canada final. It wasn't because CONCACAF wants the money. They want to fill the stadium. They want that U.S.-Mexico in a heavily in a city with a heavy Mexican-American population. That's the formula that CONCACAF loves for the Gold Cup. Otherwise, Canada would have been in that final. They're CONCACAF's best team right now. There's no question about it. And they're the most cohesive team by far. There isn't even a question. You look at the problems everyone else has happened. Canada's not having that problem. They more than deserve this. They've won the octagonal. Congratulations to Canada. It has been a pleasure to watch them play through this process, through these 13 matches. And I wouldn't want to be one of the European or South American seeded teams that's going to draw Canada in their group at Qatar, because they're going to surprise you. They're going to be underrated, and they're going to surprise you. Hopefully Alfonso Davies is healthy for the World Cup. He's got, his health issues going on, but we're hoping to see him back the way we know him, the way we remember him. This Canadian team can be scary. They can be scary for anybody that takes them lightly. So I'm going to issue that warning from here that they better be ready to take on a real team. Mario here in the chat is saying he just got home a bit ago. He was at the game today. Congratulations, Mario. You guys deserve it. It was a joy to sit there and watch that game. The only thing was I put my money on the under and the 2.5 goals, and I was 8 minutes from that. But it was great. It was great. And he's also saying that there was a great presentation after the match. The full stadium stayed for over 30 minutes. That's fantastic to hear. I've said this before. My first impression of Canadian soccer was almost 10 years ago now, when I was working with Boston Victory. We traveled to play Ottawa Fury, up in Ottawa, and we arrived in the city, and there was already a fan presence for that team, and everyone knew who we were. We were taking our morning walk down the street, and we're getting heckled by fans. It was fantastic. There was a great atmosphere. They had great facilities there at the Algonquin University in Ottawa, and we were treated top class by them. And I couldn't put my finger at that time why Canada wasn't a bigger player in CONCACAF. They seem to have gotten it together. Whatever it was that was holding them back, they seem to have resolved it. I mean, this team is just playing an exciting brand of football. It's fast, it's powerful, but they have the technique as well. Cynthia says that Fonzie did say that he is still being monitored by the doctors and that he may play on April 2nd if he's cleared. That is great news to hear. For me, he's the best player in CONCACAF at the moment. He would have been, I don't know that they give the award out or not, but he is the CONCACAF Player of the Year for 2021, no doubt about it. And in 2020, he was very good as well, winning the Champions League with Bayern Munich, no question. I hope to see him at full strength by the time we get to Qatar, because he deserves to be there. And they're talking about his Twitch streams. I have seen the Twitch streams also for Alfonso Davies, and he really pulls for his team. It's fun to watch, and you can see how much this means to him and to the rest of the team. You can see the tears on their eyes. You see Jonathan Osorio at the end of the match with tears in his eyes. This means a lot to him. I just mentioned a little while. Atiba Hutchinson's been playing for 2 decades at the top level. And finally, here at the tail end of his career, Atiba Hutchinson is going to be going to the World Cup. And best goals against in Canada. Yeah, Cynthia's saying that in the chat. And it's true that they were top-notch from start to finish. Right now, the best team in CONCACAF. The numbers don't lie. Over the space of these 13, soon-to-be 14 games, they're going to finish on top no matter what happens in the next round. And they deserve it. It's as simple as that. They deserve it. I noticed again, Eustáquio was very, very good today. And the ovation he got, in the 70th minute when he came off. Ever since he's come into this team too, I mean, Mario and Cynthia can probably speak better than I can about this because they've seen them more. But I feel like ever since he was injected into this team, it was almost like he was that missing piece. He became that link-up player that all of these talented attackers were looking for, that they needed. And it just clicked as soon as he came into that team. And you saw it at the Gold Cup. It was very early. I think he had just joined, and it was still very early, but you could see that this team was going to be a factor in this CONCACAF qualifying. They hadn't even qualified for the octagonal yet at that point. They were going to have to go through the qualifying stages, the preliminary stages. And the first time I got a real good look at them in terms of World Cup qualifying was I watched their 2 matches against Haiti to get into the octagonal. And, they were light years better than Haiti. And a lot of pundits, down here in the States had Haiti up there with the saying that they belonged in the hex as it was back then, saying that they were one of the top 6, and Canada took Haiti out. And from there, they just continued to do it. The first match day, I think, didn't go their way. They played well, but they got a little bit of a disappointing result. I think they drew with Honduras, if I'm not mistaken, in the first match. But from there, they just kept finding their rhythm. The manager, John Herdman, just kept making things happen, and just such a cohesive team. And, they just came together so well in this 14-game, or 13 so far, game journey. But they are such a team. They, as Mario's saying there in the chat, that the key word is team. The squad is working together and having such outstanding synergy. And it's true. It comes through the television even. You don't even have to be in the stadium to see it. It comes through the television that this team is just so united. And they work for each other. They sacrifice for each other. The goals come from who gets the goals. There isn't this notion that it has to be Jonathan David, or it has to be Kyle Larin, or it has to be Lucas Cavallini, or it has to be, Alfonso Davies. The goals came organically in this team, and whoever was in the position to put them away was the one to put them away. And I think that they have raised the level of CONCACAF very, very high in this cycle. And think back to the fact that we were, this cycle was delayed by COVID. Had this been a normal cycle, I don't know what it would have looked like, because this team's definitely peaking at the right time. Had qualification ended a year ago, because we would have played this past summer. Had qualification, no, we would have played the World Cup this coming summer. So qualification would have ended back in November. So maybe that timing wasn't even that bad, but they went into these windows of 3 matches, okay, 3 matches in 8 days or whatever, 9-10 days, whatever the windows are, and they're the only team not complaining. They're the only team that you don't hear the coach making excuses. When they had to rotate the squad, they did. When they had to keep the guys on, they did. If guys had to log extra minutes, they logged them. There was no excuses made by anybody in this Canada setup. They just came in, and they made it happen. I believe they're the only ones to take 9 points from any 3-day match window. Okay, any 3-match international window. They were the only ones to win all 3 matches in the window. And I mean, the sky's the limit for this team. And I'm excited, not just for the World Cup coming in November, but the 2023 Gold Cup is going to be a much better tournament now. It's going to be more competitive. This team is for real. And we also have the CONCACAF Nations League coming up. There is silverware in the future for this Canadian team. And it's very exciting. And to be down here in the States and to see it from a distance, it's also very exciting. And again, I think this was really needed in CONCACAF, to someone to break this 2-team duopoly of USA, Mexico, because Mexico, on the flip side, you're seeing they're suffering the fruits of their labor because they have gotten away from football in Mexico. The Mexican Federation has been doing business with Soccer United Marketing now for a long time. They hardly play any games in Mexico. It shows, because their stadiums are more and more empty for the national team. The people don't believe in their team. The team is not playing well. the players are not coming through anymore. There seems to be a talent problem in the supply chain for Mexican players. And as Canada is ascending, Mexico is descending. And I remember saying that I think we finally are going to have a big three in CONCACAF. We're finally going to break with the two, and we're going to have a legitimate big three. I know the United States missed the World Cup 4 years ago, but they're still one of the big two. Okay. And that was shown when Nations League and when Gold Cup comes up. But now with Canada being strong, a strong Canada really raises the profile of this region, because it's not just a strong nation on the pitch. This is a strong country in terms of media, in terms of GDP, and they're a very marketable team, as you can see. I mean, they have converted this hockey country into a football, country. They've caught the attention of those that usually hate this sport, and they've galvanized. They've galvanized the Canadian people behind this team, and I think it's going to be amazing come November when they're playing in the World Cup. Even today, the famous MMA reporter Ariel Helwani, who's Canadian, originally from Montreal, he tweeted a picture of the World Cup, and he said, "How about that?" Or "Isn't she lovely?" Something like that. Even Ariel Helwani is in on this Canadian national team. So, congratulations to Canada. They have booked their ticket. United States, very, very close. I mean, all but mathematically in, holding a very large goal difference lead over Costa Rica at this time. They got it done tonight, too. I said they were going to get this done. U.S. fan base is still traumatized, like I said, from what happened 5 years ago in Trinidad. And it really was a perfect storm of things going wrong, and that's what it took to get them to fail to qualify. However, this time around, they got the job done. They did what they had to do, and the fans can hate on Greg Berhalter all they want, but this guy brought in a huge, he's using a huge roster, okay? Large rotations. He's used at least 3 goalkeepers. Excuse me. He's used at least 3 goalkeepers. He's been missing somebody in every window. If Pulisic is hurt, if he's not hurt, it's Reyna. If Reyna's not hurt, it's McKinney. That's where we stand right now with no Weston McKinney. Tonight, Berhalter goes with Zach Steffen in goal. Matt Turner obviously injured, so he is not an option, but I think it was always going to be Zach Steffen's job. But Zach Steffen needs to get on a team where he's going to play day in and day out next season, because from August to November, he needs to be in top 4. Shaq Moore gets the start tonight at right back. Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson start as the center back pairing, with Anthony Robinson playing down the left. 3-man midfield anchored by Tyler Adams of RB Leipzig. Janus Musa is on his right, and Luca Della Torre to his left up front. Jesus Ferreira gets the start tonight, a little bit of a surprise. Many expecting Ricardo Pepi to get that spot. But Jesus Ferreira gets the start tonight at the striker. He's got Paul Arriola to his right and Christian Pulisic to his left. The one bet I got right today was when I said to take Pulisic to score, because Pulisic scores in big games. And after missing in Mexico City on Thursday, you knew he was going to have to make up for it tonight. He does this with Chelsea too. In the big games, he gets it done, whether it's Champions League, FA Cup, you name it, he gets it done. And tonight he comes in with the hat trick. So obviously this was a big night for Christian Pulisic. I said he was going to score. They were actually giving odds of like 7-2 that Pulisic would score the first goal, and he did. So anyone who took that one made out. Arriola gets the start in place of Giovanni Reyna here. Again, noticeable by the absence is Juventus's Weston McKennie, who for me is the best player on this U.S. team and the most crucial player. And he needs to be healthy. He needs to be healthy in November when we get to Qatar. And I'm, of course, saying this, assuming the United States does not lose by 6 to Costa Rica in the next round. Any results other than that or worse, the United States goes to the World Cup so long as they don't lose by 6 or more. And Arriola turned out to be, he's another player that U.S. fan base just does not like. There's a real elitism among U.S. fans, and a lot of U.S. fans are not fans of me, as you can probably imagine. But I look at this team, and I see the growth. I see the process. This is a young team. This is a team that could be completely intact come 2026, which is the real target for this team, is 2026. And most U.S. fans cannot put that through their skulls. They cannot get over what happened, okay? That night in Trinidad was 5 years ago. It has to stay in the past. And this thing of just criticizing the manager about every single little management decision by people who may know the game but have never had to take on a World Cup qualifying campaign like this one, where you have, again, windows of 3 matches in 9 days or something like that. You cannot run the same 11 every single game. And Greg Berhalter does a good job here of rotating them. He does a good job of just keeping the team as fresh as possible and as healthy as possible. Always missing somebody, like I said. You can fault him for the loss in Panama. Tonight he made up for it. All right. The first one, let's go to Panama's lineup. Meja in goal, Morillo, Escobar, Andrade, and Davis across the back. Carrasquilla and Godoy in the midfield. Godoy, I don't know how he stayed on the pitch. He gave away 2 penalties, but managed only to see 1 yellow card. Gondola, Quintero, and Barcenas are in midfield with Rolando Blackburn, as the striker. Just domination in that first half. That first half, I think it was Stuart Holden on the call for Fox said that was maybe the best. Might have been John Strong, actually, who said it. That this was maybe the best 45 minutes this was maybe the best 45 minutes the United States had put together in World Cup qualifying ever. Of course, fortuitous when VAR intervenes and gives you a penalty kick, which it did. And clear penalty. I mean, you can't complain about it. Panama lost their mind with it. You can't complain about that penalty call. You just can't do that. Like, I don't understand. When the referee goes to VAR and he looks at it, what are you going to dispute? I mean, it's on video. And then this weird thing where Jesus Ferreira is holding the ball, and Jesus Ferreira is pretending like he's going to take the penalty. And I'm getting mad at this point because I got money on Pulisic to score. I'm like, give the ball to Christian. And next thing you know, then once the goalie sets up, he hands the ball to Christian Pulisic. Pulisic gets him going the wrong way on the first one, 1-0. 6 minutes later, a ball gets sent in over the top, and Pulisic gets in behind, gets the ball in the area. He's got his back to goal, starts dribbling out of the area. As soon as he gets out of the area, he gets taken down, and he gets taken down by Morillo. And the referee smartly plays advantage. He gives play on. And it ends up on the foot of Anthony Robinson. And I can't even begin to say how big of an impact Anthony Robinson has made since he has entered the fold for this team. And he delivers a great cross right onto the head of Paul Arriola, a guy who's my height, 5'6", smallest guy on the pitch. Paul Arriola scores a perfect header into the far post. 2-0 to the United States. Excitement. I watched this one with my little man, with my 6-year-old. We watched the Canada game together. We watched this one together today. He got a little more TV time than he usually gets, given that it's World Cup qualifying, but he had to go to bed at halftime. So he went to bed at halftime with it already 4-0. But Jesus Ferreira would pick up a nice goal in the 27th. Again, the U.S. gets in behind. The ball gets driven across goal. The funny thing is, you got a Panama defender almost on the touchline, almost on the in line. He's so deep in his own end, putting his hand up for offside for a guy who's actually that he's looking at in front of him. There's no way he's offside. Jesus Ferreira just slides it into the near post, and it's 3-0. And before it can be over, another penalty given to the United States, and Stuart Holden thought it was soft. You still can't do that. You cannot put your hands down on a player and use that player for leverage to jump higher, which is exactly what happened. And it's exactly what Anibal Godoy did. And again, I don't know how he stayed on the pitch, but he gets a hold of it. I think it was Miles Robinson, and he just pulls him down. And you can't do that. It's not a lot of force, no, but you cannot use someone else to lift yourself up. And he does that. The referee points to the spot without hesitation. And they do the same thing again where Jesus Ferreira holds the ball, then hands it to Pulisic. Christian steps up. This time, the goalkeeper guesses the right way, but the penalty kick is so well taken, it's still in the net. It's 4-0. And I'm thinking, there goes my other bet for the U.S. to win both halves, because with the 4-0 lead, you only expect that there'll be some complacency. But they go into halftime with that lead. Gio Reyna replaces Paul Arriola, and Kellen Acosta replaces Yunus Musa at halftime. Panama make their own substitutions. Gabriel Torres comes on for Rolando Blackburn. Victor Medina replaces Edgar Barquenas. And Jose Luis Rodriguez replaces Freddy Gondola. Aaron Long would come in the 64th as for the United States, replacing Miles Robinson, while Christian Martinez replaces Carrasquilla. And in the 65th, I thought I finally won my bet for the day when Christian Pulisic made it 5-0 and put the United States ahead in the second half. Very nice goal. Obviously his best one because it was from open play, but a very good night for Christian Pulisic, a man of the match performance. However, things got a little bit complacent after that, but we did get to see Jordan Morris and Gianluca Busio come in. Busio playing his football, as you know, for Venezia now in the Serie A, former Sporting Kansas City youth product, replaces Pulisic, while Morris replaces Tyler Adams. But in the 86th minute, a defensive lapse allows Anibal Godoy to get a goal off a header, beating Zach Steffen and killing my bet and making me 1 for 5 today at the sports book. But that would be it. The United States wins. They have all 3 points after a 5-1 victory. Look at the player ratings from FOTMob. Christian Pulisic getting a 9.7 in this one. Some other highlights. Paul Arriola, 8.5 in half a game. That's also a very good result, or a very good rating for him. Some of the lesser ratings, Zach Steffen with a 5.8. Yeah, it wasn't his best game. He had a few miscues and was really lucky, actually, that Panama didn't take the lead because he had misplayed one early. But he made another nice save after he had misplayed a ball. He went up, ball went right through his hands, and made some kind of Stuart Holden called it a yoga save when he basically made like a kick save like an ice hockey goalie would do. He stretched his legs out kind of in that hockey stance and made the save, but was holding his hamstring a little bit after that. So the United States and Canada Canada is in the United States looking close. Mario also says that cheering for Canada has been refreshing. Finds the modern sport has a lot of negativity, even when teams win. And it's been a reminder to just enjoy the ride. And that is true. And I'm trying to enjoy the ride with the United States as well. But a big part of that is disconnecting from a lot of the United States fan base, unfortunately. I mean, they're great supporters. They get behind the team in the match. But between match days, the negativity is toxic. Everything is wrong. a lot of people just think they know everything, and then social media gives a platform to everybody to say what they think. And I mean, you take the good and the bad with free speech, but it's just it's a lot of arguments that are not valid in my opinion. I mean, you don't see you don't see anybody going perfect in World Cup qualifying. Road games in World Cup qualifying are difficult, yes, but then this is the same fan base that makes excuses about going to Costa Rica, about going to Mexico, about going to Honduras, and how it's always so difficult. And oh, you hear the toxicity, like Bruce Arena 5 years ago saying, "I'd like to see the hotshot Europeans try to do this." Bruce Arena has never taken a team into Bosnia in November when it's cold and when the crowd is absolutely hostile and they're trying to tip your bus over on the way in. So that that difficulty in playing on the road exists everywhere in every confederation. Same thing in South America. And imagine being a team in Africa, the hardest continent to qualify out of, no doubt about it. There are 10 teams right now vying for 5 spots. Many of those 10 teams are yet to lose a match in qualifying or before this round. And if they've lost like one. Okay, these are 10 group winners. It is so hard to qualify out of Africa. Okay, so to think that it's somehow harder in CONCACAF, that's just not true. There's stories and I'm trying to remember the team. I think it was Morocco that went to play at the DR Congo, and the story. And as soon as the bus, a mile after leaving the airport in Kinshasa, the both team buses break down simultaneously. And then they get to hotels and the water doesn't work and the lights don't work and the air conditioning's broken. I mean, these kind of games happen everywhere. So again, um, US fans, just be happy for once. Enjoy the ride. Okay, your team has done well. Stop putting so much value in the stylistic side of the game. Okay, your team has done well. We're 13 matches through qualifying and only 2 losses. This is one of the best qualifying runs in terms of wins and losses that this team has put together. Okay, against a much better CONCACAF than what it was 12 years ago or 8 years ago. Okay, Canada is better, obviously. Yeah, Mexico's not as good, but Costa Rica's still there. Jamaica's better. Uh, you know, El Salvador is better. They're up and coming. These CONCACAF nations are getting stronger. Panama's hanging on and staying at a level. Okay, I said Costa Rica's playing, hanging on to they're using older players, but they're maintaining their level. This is a tougher CONCACAF than it was 12 years ago. There's no doubt about that. And I think this is a very accomplished run for this team. And it was important for both these teams, both the United States and Canada, to have good runs in this qualifying campaign before they host the next World Cup. You never want to just make it because you're hosting. You want to know that you can make it. You want to have made it before you're the host. And I think it's going to help both of these teams, not just in Qatar, but at the World Cup in 2026 when it's here in North America. Okay, moving on now to the next match. This one went on just before the United States played. It was El Salvador playing Costa Rica. This one was played in San Salvador, and I'm bringing it up right now. It was played at the Cuscatlan Stadium, and we'll look at the lineups quickly. El Salvador starts with Gonzalez in goal, Tamacas, Dominguez, Villalobos, and Larin across the back. Martinez and Landaverde in the center of midfield, a double pivot behind Santa Maria Enriquez and Reyes. And Gil was the striker. He would pick up their goal in this one. They're, of course, coached by former U.S. international Hugo Perez. For Costa Rica, their living legend, Keylor Navas, is the goalkeeper. Ricardo Fuller, Watson, Vargas, Calvo, and Oviedo across the back. They played with 5 across the back. That's right, 5-4-1 for Luis Suarez, the manager. Contreras, Borjas, Celso Borjas, Tejada, and Martinez across the midfield behind the striker Joel Campbell. Um, Again, there are players here that are approaching, if not already, in their 40s on this Costa Rica team. Brian Ruiz would come into this one. He just seems like he's been around forever. Um, and, Costa Rica get on the board first. It's Anthony Contreras. 1 minute later, Christian Hill makes it 1-1. And then in stoppage time of the first half, it is the Leon striker, and by Leon I mean the Mexican Leon, not the French Leon. Leon striker Joel Campbell, former Sporting Lisbon striker and Arsenal striker. He scores. He also played for Olympiacos. He gets the goal for Costa Rica, the goal that ends up putting them into fourth place and locking up a spot in that playoff at the very least against the winner of Oceania. Um, all the goals come in the first half. Brian Ruiz comes on for Alonso Martinez in the 46th. Hugo Perez would send in Eric Zavaleta and Narciso Orellana in the second half, replacing Romulo Villalobos and Kevin Santamaria. But in the end, it is Costa Rica, Los Ticos, getting all 3 points on the road in the Cuscatlan, a very difficult stadium to play in, the largest stadium in Central America. And it leaves, like I said, Costa Rica is going to play for their lives on, I think it's Wednesday night against the United States in San Jose. But win or lose, Costa Rica at the very least is going to go to the playoffs against the winner of Oceania. We expect that to be New Zealand, but you never know. They're going to play the Solomon Islands in their final on Wednesday. By the time the teams kick off Wednesday night, they'll know who the Oceania representative will be. That playoff will take place in June. From what I understand, the draw for the World Cup, though, is this coming Friday. I was watching the Mexico game, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute on Universo, on NBC Universo, Spanish language NBC affiliate. And they had a promotion that's this Friday morning, 11:30 Eastern time, is the World Cup draw, apparently. So I'll be watching that. I'll be working, but I'll have it on. I'll be following it through the various forms of social media. Not all the places are obviously going to be clinched by Friday, so I'm assuming one of the balls in the pot will be the winner of that. They'll just say winner of the playoff. Plus, you have another international playoff in Europe where the group that, or I should say, the path is the word they call it, that features Ukraine has been postponed to June. So giving Ukraine time to hopefully field a team. And so there'll be another team to come out of Europe as well. So I'm assuming that those spots will just be left. There'll be a ball in the pot for those two spots, even though we don't know which teams will occupy them yet. Moving on now to Mexico and Honduras. San Pedro Sula in the Olímpico Metropolitano. Honduras last place right now, and they're giving it what they've got, but the stadium was completely empty. I'm not sure if that was, I'm assuming that was due to restrictions placed by the government. I can't imagine that they wouldn't fill the house to try to eliminate Mexico or try to hurt Mexico's chances of qualifying. But Honduras would play in a 4-5-1. Lopez in goal, Santos, Pereira, Maldonado, and Decas across the back. The five in midfield from right to left, Sacasa, Meja, Arriaga, Acosta, and Lopez, with Tejada starting as the striker. It's a changed squad. Some of the names you're not going to recognize. Some of the names you're used to seeing from Honduras are not there. But for Mexico, it's full strength squad for coach for Tata Martino. You got Ochoa in goal, Guillermo Memo and Ochoa. They're playing a 4-3-3. Okay, you got Sanchez playing at the right. Montes and Vasquez are the center backs, with Arteaga as the left back. Now, the veterans in midfield tonight. Edson Alvarez, for me, the best player on this Mexican team, most important player on this Mexican team. The AFC-IX midfielder sits in front of the back four, anchoring and distributing. To his left, he's got Hector Herrera, soon to be of Houston Dynamo, and to his right, he's got He's got Rodriguez. And in attack, Tecatito Corona down the right, Raul Jimenez down the center, and Chucky Lozano down the left. Um, Again, this was a difficult match for Mexico. Every match is difficult for Mexico right now. They're having such trouble scoring, such trouble finishing. We've seen them try so many different people in these places. At some point, Tata Martino has to realize he needs these guys that he has outcasted, these guys that he's excommunicated from the team. He needs Chicharito, okay? He needs Guardado. He needs his guys. I mean, I don't know what he's waiting for. And it's just it looks frustrating to be a Mexico fan right now. And as a U.S. fan, it's quite enjoyable, but they're they're really struggling, and their football is just not good right now. It's poor, and they're disjointed, they're disconnected. The passes are choppy. There's just so much sloppy play in this team, and what imagine what a informed Carlos Vela could do for this Mexican team right now. But he's not there either. He's been outcasted by Tata Martino. And I admit I'm guilty of this too, because I wanted Tata Martino to be the U.S. manager when he took the Mexico job. I wanted, and I think at the end, Berhalter is the better coach than Tata Martino at this level with these players. Tata Martino has the impressive CV, the impressive resume. He's coached at Barcelona. He's from Argentina. He tore MLS on fire with Atlanta United, but now he can't make it work with this group of players. And I think there's a stubbornness that he's not willing to break from. And in the end, you're getting really poor football. And you're having a Mexico team struggle to beat teams that they should be handling. And here, Brian says Mexico's a sleeping giant. They may come alive at World. You're right. Brian's 100% right about that. They have done that before. They have struggled. Remember with Miguel Herrera managing them, they had to go to the playoff to beat New Zealand to get in. They made it through CONCACAF by the skin of their teeth, and then they went to the World Cup and played well. They got to the round of 16. They always get to the round of 16, it seems. They are a team that is chasing the ever elusive, what they call el quinto partido, the fifth match, because they want to get to the quarterfinals so bad. They've never gotten past the fourth match at the World Cup, and they really are trying to do that. But I think that goes for the whole World Cup, though, Brian. I think too many times everyone puts too much stock in how teams did in qualifying. Once you get there, it starts over. We saw 2002, Brazil won the World Cup when they almost didn't qualify. They very narrowly qualified for the 2002 World Cup under Luis Felipe Scolari, and then they go to Korea, Japan, and they win. They win the World Cup. We've seen that happen before, also, where teams that barely get in end up being good, and teams that shine. How many times have we seen, let's say, the Netherlands win all 10 qualifying games and then be ousted in the round of 16 at the World Cup? You can't put too much value in what's going on. And the World Cup's a long time from now. It's in November. And with Mexico, you never know who the manager's going to be. They could sack the manager the day after they qualify. It wouldn't be out of character for the FMF to do that. And a new manager could do so. It's not unusual for there to be wholesale changes either when a new Mexican national team manager takes over and he brings in the guys he likes, and all of a sudden you may have different names, but all of a sudden you have a team dynamic that's starting to work. And as I've followed more and more Mexican football the last couple of years, so these players and these names become more familiar to me. I agree with Brian that they're a sleeping giant. It's a matter of time, but right now they are just struggling. And I think it's a disconnect between what Tata Martino wants and what these players either want or know how to give, how they know how to play. I think Tata has to meet them halfway somewhere, and he has to implement some different tactics, because it's just not working. They're just not meeting even close to their potential. There is so much talent in this Mexican team here, and there's a number of players not in this 11 that are very good. Okay, again, you talk about veterans like Andres Guardado. You can talk about Diego Lainez. You can talk about the Carlos Velas and the Chicharitos that are still out there and could still help this team if they could mend that bridge. Um, you look at you look at these guys. There's more to this team. Rodrigo Funes Mori can't stop scoring for Monterrey when he plays for El Tri. He has the same trouble everyone else has. I think they got to ditch these alternate kits that they wear. They got to go back to being who they are. They got to rediscover their identity as El Tri, green, white, red. That is who they are. Enough with this nonsense marketing and these disgusting kits. They're doing the same thing as Real Madrid, coming out in those black kits. Those things should be burned because they're struggling so badly. I think El Tri needs to rediscover who they are. They need to rediscover that identity. Get back in those green kits. They had one of the best kits in all of world football, in those three color, green, white, and red kits, and get back to being Mexico. Get back to fighting. Si si puede is their battle cry. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. Si si puede. But like this, no pueden. No pueden. Not like this. The goal comes in this one. They credit it to Edson Alvarez, but the replays seem to look like it came off the head of the Honduran defender, after Edson Alvarez had gotten ahead to it. And I say this whenever I have the opportunity, whether it's here or recently on Mr. Benfica, on my other podcast, I talk about how highly I rate Edson Alvarez when we played against him, because he's on Ajax. He's such a key. The same way that Eustaquio is a key guy for Canada, Edson Alvarez is that guy for Mexico, and Tyler Adams for the United States. That position there, right in the middle of the park, it is just so important in the modern game. And Brian's got another comment here in the chat, and I'm going to put up on the screen. He says, if the USMNT leadership was completely devoted to the game and not profits, I agree, and I think Mexico has the same problem, Brian. I think Mexico has the same problem. They're doing too much business with Soccer United marketing, and they're playing all their friendlies in the United States, and they're playing friendlies out of the international. It's all about profit, and they don't have a cohesive team anymore. And it looks like the people in Mexico don't believe in this team. I mean, their attendance, in spite of restrictions, I mean, there was no enthusiasm in the Azteca the other night. When have you ever seen the Azteca like that? And to be honest, the Azteca doesn't even look like the football stadium it used to. They've added all this decor to it. They've got that Coca-Cola lounge now in the corner, and you can't even see you can't see the fans in that corner of the pitch. And I mean, I think Mexican football in general has gotten too money hungry. And just like, I think they're following the example of the United States, unfortunately, and it may play out that they fall the same way. I mean, I think they're going to get to the World Cup, because I think even in fourth, they win a playoff with New Zealand or the Solomon Islands. But they're making the same mistakes the United States have made in the past and continue to make, putting profit over development. Brian makes a great point there. But I do, following Mexican football as closely as I've begun to the last 2-3 years, that trend is going on down there too. Their league did away with relegation. Okay. The Mexican league, they did away with relegation. They say they're going to bring it back, but they probably never will. They can't. They're afraid of losing an America, a Tigres, or a Chivas to relegation. The two leagues are, this Leagues Cup thing is about profit only. Makes very little sense, honestly. From a footballing standpoint, it just further diminishes the CONCACAF Champions League. I think U.S. Soccer, FMF, both thinking alike. They're and you know, they're offshooting leagues, Major League Soccer, Liga MX, very profit driven, which you do need profit to fund the game, but it's lacking that balance where the footballing side is being neglected. And again, now we've seen the trend go the other way, where we have the Mexican Americans starting to defect, not because you're starting to see them defect to Mexico because they have a harder time getting into the future for the United States rotation. When you see the young players the United States is putting on the pitch, and you're a young Mexican American, and you look at El3, and they don't have the same level of guy in your position. You know, if they do, he's a lot older. You know, I still think Jonathan Gonzalez made a mistake. He may regret it, he may not. If he depends for his reasoning, but from a football sense, he may have made it, but at the same time, we're pretty solid in that position with Kellen Acosta and with Tyler Adams. You know, I would love to have Jonathan Gonzalez in there as well, but he chose Mexico, and he played that one time. He got capped, and we haven't seen him play for Mexico in a meaningful game ever since. So it's a great rivalry, but the thing is, the way World Cup qualifying is going to work in CONCACAF going forward is, I don't think we're going to see those two teams. That rivalry, in terms of World Cup qualifying, ends here. But I think that maybe intensifies it more in Nations League and in Gold Cup. So this is a good opportunity for a real big reform in CONCACAF and try to get things less profit driven. And you know what? I honestly think CONCACAF is also completely profit driven and not football minded at all, because just look, how we have a Gold Cup every 2 years, and always in the United States, and always where they can charge the most. Okay, always in Mexico, always plays in hotbeds of Mexican American cities with large NFL stadiums. That's the formula for the Gold Cup, with the United States playing their prelims in the MLS stadiums, in the more breadbasket of the country, and moving their way towards a mega final between always trying to make it so that it's the United States and Mexico in the final. In the end, that makes a lot of money, but it doesn't help anybody from a footballing standpoint. And I hope that someday we'll see a less corrupt CONCACAF, and we'll see them put football before profit. But it's very hard. It's a very corrupt organization. Just logistically speaking, the way it's organized, you know, you have voting blocks of nations that provide nothing from a football sense, but because they vote together, they become the most powerful entity in CONCACAF, and they put profit above all else. And then you know, all this money gets dispersed, and then they say they don't have facilities and don't have conditions for VAR in CONCACAF qualifying, like earlier in this stage. So something's got to give, and I hope to see some sort of reform in the organization of CONCACAF. Okay, so Mexico win 1-0. Let's look now at the table. Now that we're through 13 rounds. Canada lead 28 points, 8 victories, 4 draws, 1 defeat, 23 goals for, 6 against. United States second, 25 points, 7 victories, 4 draws, 2 defeats, 21 goals for, 8 against. And they have, like I said, 25 points ahead of Mexico by 6 goals right now on goal difference. Costa Rica are 3 points back with 22 points. They have 6 victories, 4 defeats, 4 draws, 3 defeats, only 11 goals scored, 8 allowed for Los Ticos, but 22 points. They're 3 points behind the United States, but like I said, they got a goal difference of +3 versus the United States is +13. Again, the only way the United States does not qualify for the World Cup later this week is by losing by 6 goals or more. Panama now eliminated. It's over for them. They have 18 points. The most they can get is 21. The playoff is no longer a possibility. 5 victories, 3 draws, 5 defeats, 16-4, 19 goals allowed. El Salvador in 6th. they're in a rebuilding phase. I think they're happy just to get to the octagonal, and I think that they're happy to finish two places, to finish better than two other teams. Hugo Perez has said that the project continues, and they're continuing to look for talent here in the United States and elsewhere that may be eligible to play for them. They end up with 2 victories, 4 draws, and 7 defeats, 10 points. Jamaica, they had the toughest um, circumstances beyond their control than anybody else. They couldn't get their English-based players in due to travel restrictions for much of this, because then they would have to quarantine before returning to the UK to return to their club teams. So Mikel Antonio only came in for sparingly in this cycle. They finished with just 1 victory, 5 draws, and 7 defeats. In Honduras, without a single victory in this octagonal. 13 matches. I say finish. We're not finished yet. There's one more round to go. But Honduras, 0 victories, 4 draws, 9 defeats for 4 points. Looking ahead now to the coming matches. Wednesday. It is Wednesday the 30th. Okay, these times are Eastern time, but it starts, and they're actually all going to kick off at 9:05 Eastern time. Costa Rica hosts the United States in San Jose. Jamaica hosts Honduras in Kingston. Mexico hosts El Salvador at the Azteca, I believe is where they're playing. That's where they've played all their matches. And Panama will host the already qualified Canada. So that game is very much a moot point at this point. Canada already has won the octagonal, and due to their fantastic, goal difference, I don't see how they don't win the octagonal. They have a plus 17 goal. I suppose if the United States wins by enough goals and Canada loses, then the United States can win the octagonal. But it really makes no difference at this point. You either qualify or you don't. That's really what it comes down to here. So we'll see. I will be back later this week. All right. This is going to wrap it up for this episode 77. But the Parking the Bus podcast is now back. I'm going to be putting out more. I've got stuff in my life straightened out here. I had a lot going on, and I've got some things straightened out. My professional life is straightened out as well. I got a lot of work, but I do have, a schedule that I look to be keeping so I can keep putting out some content. I'm looking for help too, guys. Anybody listening, watching, that if you want to get involved in this show, hit me up on Twitter. Send me a direct message on Twitter at PTB_media. Okay. Or hit me with an email at ptbmedianetwork@gmail.com. If you think if you want to provide analysis, I'm looking for people that can help me out, because I need someone to keep an eye on European leagues. I'm looking for someone to keep an eye on South American leagues, someone to fill me in on MLS, Liga MX, stuff like that, and women's football as well, because I want to include them as well going forward. We do have a Euro this summer, a women's Euro to keep up with, and if anybody's got any interest in being a part of this, just hit me up. Let me know what you can do, and maybe we can work something out. I'm looking to build a team here so that we can put out more content. If you want to write, if you like to write versus talk, let me know. We can post articles on parkingthebusmedia.com. Okay. The website's been a little bit asleep, if you will. It's been idle for a while, and I'm paying the bill for it. So I want to get content up there. So if you're anybody interested in any of those platforms, in any of those roles, just let me know. Let's build a team here, and let's make Parking the Bus, grow. Let's make the PTB Media Network grow, little by little, And I am still on my free time trying to devise a bit of a business plan for this to see how I'm going to keep this thing sustainable going forward. I've got some ideas, but if anybody has any knowledge in that area, if anybody's got any aptitude, again, I'll take any kind of feedback. I'll be back. I'm looking to be back Wednesday. Okay. I have some free time on Wednesday. I'll be working from home, so I'll be getting some free time. And we got European qualifying finals on Tuesday. So I'm thinking on Wednesday I can do a little bit of a European finals recap and a CONCACAF preview, and then come back next weekend to review the rest of World Cup qualifying and maybe get back into league action. We got a lot going on. The Champions League quarterfinals are fast approaching. So are the Europa League quarterfinals, the Europa Conference quarterfinals, the CONCACAF Champions League's at its semifinals. We're about to start the group stage of Copa Libertadores. I love that competition. So much to talk about. Like I said, later on in the year, we got the Women's Euro. We've got UEFA Nations League. We've got just so much football to talk about. And Major League Soccer is just kicking off. They're about a month into their season. So much to talk about. Anybody that wants to contribute in any way, just let me know. Again, follow me on Twitter at PTB_media, or follow the show, I should say. You can follow me directly, me personally, right there. You see my handle right on your screen. It's at Mike Agostino, at MikeAgostinho. And also follow me over at betterthan.vegas. I just started a channel there, or I just restarted my channel there. I'm gonna be giving betting advice there now regularly, once or twice a week. I'm gonna be giving you some soccer betting tips. So if you're into sports betting and you're into betting on soccer games, I'm gonna be posting stuff over there. So if you're into that, go over to betterthan.vegas, okay, and then search Mr. Benfica, and you'll see my channel there. All right. That's gonna do it for this episode 77. Thank you for joining me tonight. For those of you watching live, thank you to Mario, Brian, and Cynthia for joining in the chat. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star rating. They say that does something. More importantly, share the podcast if you like it. Just put a link out, tweet it, and Facebook it. Not MySpace, so that's how old I am. Instagram it, whatever your method of sharing is, put it up there. Share it with people you think might like it, people that like football. And I hope to grow this and continue to give you a better show. This was episode 77, so we're still going. We're surviving. We've been here a little while, and we're surviving little by little, but the season's about to get into full swing, so I'm excited. Thank you. This has been Parking the Bus. I'm the Mr. Mike Agostino, and I'll catch you next time here on the PTB Media Network. Thank you for joining, everybody. Have a good night.